Today we are performing a spline lube on this 1985 K100 RT. This is basically the same procedure for all 2-valve K bikes, all the K100s, all the K75s, all the K100s except the 92 K100 RS. That is different. Anyway, so we've already removed the rear drive, which is going to be in a different video of what to check before you buy one of these. The next step is removal of the footpeg plates. I'm going to take these 3 bolts out. I've already removed the 2 bolts here for the saddlebag mount. And you're going to remove this footpeg plate. Again, your rear brake light switch is here. Follow this little piggy up through here and to there. Disconnect it. Fish it right out. This is missing the battery tray. Battery hold down, which also holds the coolant jug. In case you're looking at that going, what the fuck? There's something missing there. That's what's fucking missing there. Don't fuck with that bolt there. That is the rear brake pivot pin. Now we can take that foot peg completely off. Your next step is go to the other fucking side. This side is a little bit more involved. This side carries the exhaust. As we see, someone has already over-torqued the shit out of this mount, and this little piggy is now baking. This one's not too far behind. There's no fucking need to over-torque shit. It's rubber. It's supposed to float. If you crush it, it's not rubber anymore. You're turning it into a solid fucking mass, and it's garbage. That's what they've done here. Fortunately, these rubber mounts are so big, this is still usable. So our next step, since this is bolted to the exhaust, is take the exhaust off. I'm going to leave that attached. I've already got these 2 bolts out. Well, those are captured under this frickin' exhaust plate. Anyway, we're going to move on to removing these. These can be tricky. These do break. They do strip. You got to be very cautious with what you do. You can say, well, it's easier to split it here and just leave the head pipes alone. Not true. These are 4 pipes that go into the muffler. Each of them has a clamp. Your chances of getting them all clamped back together and not leaking are probably slim. So Sean's just going to loosen those, and then we're going to get into removing all of these, which I will video for you. To remove the exhaust, you need a 12mm socket ratchet with an extension. Go on the other side of the bar. There you go. You want to make sure that these turn them a little bit at a time. Sometimes they go, sometimes they're seized. Mostly you want to make sure that the socket is fully on the nut, and at the end of the socket is pushed against the flange of the exhaust. And these are coming off nicely, which is reassuring. Yeah. This bike is actually in very good condition for an 85. You know, the scratches in the fairing, chips in the paint, that's all normal for 70,000 miles. The bike shows no evidence of being dropped, which is rare. K-bikes can be a bit top heavy. And this one's in nice shape. The reason we're doing the spline lube, the customer had Max BMW do a spline lube recently, and we are questioning whether it was done or not. So I removed the rear drive, which is in the other video of what to check before you buy a K-bike. And the rear drive splines, while they are now cleaned, you can see in the other video when we took it apart, they were never done, or not recently anyway. So now we are proceeding with removal of the transmission to clean and lubricate the clutch/input shaft splines, which do strip on these bikes if they are neglected. This It is an important service. BMW states that every 20,000 miles we're supposed to remove the transmission to clean and lubricate the input shaft splines. If you use the right material on them, Stabarog's, NBU 30 NPT, you can get away with 40,000 mile spline loop intervals. The rear drive, however, as stated in the other video, every time the rear tire is off, clean and re-lube these splines. Very, 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 very important. So now we're down to 1 nut left, 3 nuts left.
I cracked them all.
Alright, they've all been loosened. So now Sean's removing all of them, and then we'll outline removal of the exhaust as our next step. Now that all of the exhaust manifold nuts are off, one stud came out. Don't freak out, that's okay. Our next step is going to be removal of these 3 footpeg plate bolts. As I said, we're leaving these attached. We're going to remove the exhaust with the footpeg plate. Make things easier. You're disturbing less things here. You're not messing with the rubber mounts as much, which is too bad somebody else didn't do, but it is what it is. You may notice as these are removed that the head of the bolt is bent. It's wobbling up and down. Being that these foot pegs on the 85 were rubber mounted, standing on the pegs can bend the end of the bolt because, you know, the bolt's threaded into here, but you have a lot of bolt material sticking out here that's really unsupported and it's all rubber mounted. So standing on the pegs will actually push the plate down and bend the bolts. It's not a big deal, just something to be aware of. Now we can proceed with loosening the exhaust. Sean's going to make sure that all of those flanges are off of their studs. We need the side stand down, or you will not have enough room to get this off. And
Crash bar?
the damn crash bar is in the way. And our crash bar is in the way. But this one even had them. Yeah, hold on a minute. Hold on. So our next step, how the hell do you remove the crash bars? I was recently asked how to do this. I guess I'll show you. There's a bolt way the fuck in there under this cap. See it? This one's an Allen bolt. Sometimes it's a nut with a stud. Gotta remove that. And we'll be back shortly. Sean's gonna remove that, and then the 2 on the bottom, and then we'll take the fucking bar off. Bar? Did somebody say bar? Is it happy hour yet? After yesterday's fiasco. We could tie on a good one for a couple of days. That'll be a story for later on. Anyway, on with the crash bar. He'll have this off in a moment. And then we will remove this exhaust. And we'll proceed with the spline lube. Alright, here we go. Down, off. Get 6 of your friends to help you carry the exhaust. And away it goes. You can see here how this exhaust is put together. This is actually a good design. Later, when they went to the 16-valve bikes, these 4 pipes are welded in here. Notoriously broken exhaust on 16-valve K bikes, i.e. K1, 92 K100 RS, and all of the K1100 RSs and K1100 LTs. The exhaust can be re-welded, but And it broke because of the big catalytic converter and nobody changing the freaking mount that goes on this side of the bike. So the mount breaks, the exhaust flexes, breaks the pipe. 9 fucking exhaust systems were warranted on my 92 K100 RS because the fucking dealership wasn't changing the mount on this side. I changed the mount, never broke another exhaust. So anyway, you can see how these are put together. A little bit of exhaust leakage is normal, very faint. No big deal. Exhaust is off. Our next step, we're going to remove this crash bar completely because we have a box that's going to go underneath here. And we'll probably need to remove the other side can stay on, so no issue there. We're going to lift this up in a moment. For our next sideshow, we're going to raise the bike in the air so we can slide my work box underneath. Tie the fucking bike to the lift. All you guys with vices on your lift, don't think that you can jack the back of the bike in the air and this isn't going to pop out. It can pop out. It's almost impossible, but why chance it? So while Sean's doing that, our next step, get a bottle jack. You're going to go under one of these center stand bolts. Up. Need to turn that box 90 degrees, counterclockwise. Yep. No. Oh, right here. And we're in. Slide that forward. Now we let the jack down. And she sits nicely on the box. The reason this box has a cutout on that side is so I can get to the exhaust. Some of these, you don't have to remove the exhaust, like the K75. That muffler just comes off. The muffler is different than the K100. So that takes care of that. We're in the air. Our next step is going to be removal of the center stand. Since the springs are shortest and under the least tension here, I take that back, do it up. 4 bolts in the center stand. 1, 2, 3, 4. All 2-valve K-bikes, though, have this self-retracting feature for the clutch. Therefore, you need to, and many times these are seized. Put that up. Now you can spin this nut off, which is a fucking chore because you got to hold the lever back and spin that little nut off. Right there. So Sean's going to give that a stab because he wasn't aggravated enough with yesterday's fucking clusterfuck. We'll move on to here. Check this shit out. This is fucking hysterical. The bolts for the crash bar, somebody fucking packed them with blue thread locker. I'd like to know who. It makes me want to fucking knock them down on their back and fill their nostrils full of blue fucking thread locker. There's no reason to Loctite hardly anything on these bikes. Torque them to the proper torque spec, and they will stay where you fucking put them. So for now, while Sean's doing that, after he's done with that, these 4 bolts are going to come out. Center stand and side stand assembly will be removed, and then we'll be on to the next step. Now that our center stand is off, we have a little comedy show. We have the fire department next door because my neighbor's snowblower caught on fire, and he came over here, and I grabbed my extinguisher and we extinguished it. So now we have ambulance 2 and engine 6 because of a little fucking Aryan snowblower that the fucking fuel line broke and caught on fire. That was easy to put out. We could probably go put a fuel line on it. Fucking start it right back up. Whatever. Such bullshit.